Yes, this is what we have to realize. Yes, yes. So yes, you were saying about the trigger point. Yes, and workshop. I changed the name now. I just wrote meetings because I didn't know how to call it. So I didn't want to call that satsang. So I was writing a talk, workshop. And now I change, I make meetings, because when people ask me in a few weeks, I say, oh, it's a meeting. What is it? It's a meeting.
Hey, actually, it's good. Meeting is good.
Yeah, why not, you know? Meet in, yes. So, anything else it was bringing? Any reflection or insight or question this brought?
For me, I guess I had the expectation that this is also about consciousness or the true self.
Yes.
So there are some teachers or gurus or however you want to call it. And for me it's sometimes nice, on the one hand, in this meeting, just to deepen a little bit into presence.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Just to enjoy the here and now.
Yes. You had this expectation. So maybe it's also
I know
here.
it's a bad word, expectation.
Yes. No, but we just play with words, no?
Yeah, that's true.
We're going to be like Krishna and play with words. Because that words are, they are what we put into them.
That's wonderful. True.
I was just in my room, was listening to a Krishna bhajan, and it reminded me about the playfulness of life. You know, we take it so serious, but God is playing with all these little characters, and we take it so seriously, and, but we have no choice. We have to play our role. But yes, I hope that this consciousness and presence is also here, not there.
You cannot hope. It must be here. It cannot be anywhere.
Yes, that's why I say that. Yes, yes. But we play the game to go somewhere to find that. But it's true in a way because it's more reflected. It's more experience in some places, near some people, like that. But there are pointers, if I'm not wrong. There are pointers to that which is always here. They are just reflectors. Arunachala or some guru. They are reflectors, but it's also in Germany, no?
It is.
It can be quite hidden.
There are some places which appear a little bit more distracting for me a little bit.
Yes.
The world is just pulling you in a little bit.
Yes,
And
yes, yes.
Some places it's easier just to be and to be conscious about it.
Yes. No, it's like maybe if you would see some little place of water here and there, and some have little movement because of the wind or some animals or whatever, and some are very stable, and you want to see the sun, so you will go where it's calm. Oh, this one is very... But you might realize that it's pointing to the sun, not to the place. The place is just a pointer to... Welcome. Come in front if you want.
Yeah.
For the sound is better.
It's very interesting what he said, the reason why he came, because it sounds to me kind of exactly the opposite why I came. Your poster triggered in me. I'm reading, last week I was reading about material spirituality.
Material spirituality.
Yeah, which is a book very interesting because it speaks about the pitfalls of spirituality.
Mm-hmm.
What not to do. And I think this is a kind of ABC everyone should start there before going to the absolute. But your poster triggered in me that this is a meeting where these things can be or will be
Exactly.
touched.
That's the purpose.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. Because it's not so difficult if you had some inner experience of inner realization that then you can speak about that in a spiritual way. You know, and you can give, even I, sorry to say that, even I'm not a guru, but I can give beautiful talks about that.
Yeah, and I
But-
can write for sure a PhD.
Yes, you see? So,
know,
yes.
But you are still faking it brilliantly because the ego is so brilliant.
It can be there
It can
or not, but
fake enlightenment.
this is why it
all
happens. Yes.
ways, on all the ways you can imagine or you want.
That's why we have so many stories of guru with money, sex, power, this, that, abuse. Why?
Yeah.
So now it seems there is a new time coming where we can see authenticity is more important, to be aligned with what you are and to present yourself as a normal person which is on the path, maybe which sometimes, which can give some support, but without pretending to be enlightened guru, yes.
The problem is, I don't blame those persons or gurus who are making that, because what they actually do is what they know that the people are expecting. I know people who say this is not enlightened because he's not behaving like they expect an enlightened person to behave, which is totally crazy.
But also there is no mistake, because I have learned through since 30 years in this path so many things by mistakes.
Yeah.
Without mistakes, how can we learn? So we can thank all these whatever triggers and even enemies, people who attack you also. You know, if we I had something happening recently like that, and I felt I was considering it. You know, I was reading something from the Tao Te Ching and said, look at the, as long as you think there is enemies come to show you some shadow part in you. Are you open to that?
Well,
As long as you
that's-
think there is
that's
others outside and enemies, it means you are fully in the dream. That's right.
Yes.
So, like what Gangama, which I like, said yesterday, I think she said, for me, all are realized. You know, they just play actors or playing like they are not, because it's a play of consciousness. So every actor is designed to play ignorant, but consciousness, which is supporting that, is not ignorant. So, yes. So it's important. I consider I am also this one a character in the dream, and to not forget that only consciousness is, which is not personal, which is witnessing all this show, is what probably we are looking for. We call it the self or consciousness. But now, why I brought this subject is because I notice, probably like you guys, that many people, the tendency is to stay attached with some spiritual concept and to walk in life avoiding contact, maybe to be too much in the world or to hide, you know. So we avoid what? We avoid discomfort or triggers. We don't want to feel something not nice inside of us. So I did that also. That's why I can share, talk about it. Tendency to hide in a cave, in a mountain, and to, you know, like my first guru, he was saying you can be 5,000 years in samadhi, or no, 500 years, he was saying. 500 years and come back and have the same samskara. Nothing changed. So you can even go in some kind of samadhi for a long time and come back. So this is a extreme spiritual bypass, escape, but we do it all the time when we try to manipulate the discomfort inside of us. Usually there is two ways when something comes in our field. somebody talk in a way that we don't like, a situation we don't like, or even our own thought, our own emotion can trigger something and we feel your disturbance. So what we do, normally there is two ways to escape, to feel that. Suppress. Keep smiling and suppress. Suppress in the system, it stays somewhere. And you keep smiling, pretending there is nothing. It has been suppressed. Or you vomit outside. If it's anger, you hold on an object because you believe it is the object is responsible for your anger. So you hold on to the object and you throw it outside. I might do that sometimes also, but we have to learn and to understand that it's not helping. So I believe there is a middle path in between, which is to not put it outside and not suppress, to stay with the discomfort, to let it be here, not try to manipulate it, which is coming back with consciousness, presence, just be here. What do you have to do with about emotion, about stuff, discomfort? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Just be here. And don't suppress, don't put it outside. Just let stuff come out, being expressed by them, and they live their life. But I don't try to manipulate them in any way. So that's a very high goal. But
That's enlightenment in my view.
yes,
Because
but
that means that I am so conscious, I can observe that thing. Usually when you vomit, you cannot stop it.
yeah, because it's too
Vomiting.
strong, so you
Exactly.
push it outside, yeah,
Yeah.
right? So, but it's a practice to stay with it. Maybe slowly. We cannot pretend to take a big disturbance at once, but we can gradually get used to it. You know, maybe we vomit little less outside, or suppress little less. We can learn with little things, and ultimately is what is to all the sand in the past I am from. Also, they say the same thing, that it's as long as we make a difference between pain and pleasure, then we are in the business. So to learn to withdraw as witness consciousness, which has no preference between pain and pleasure, would be the path of being here, which is what Ramana says also.
Do you
Just to
think
be.
we can learn this?
Huh?
Do you think we can learn this? You said
Yes.
that we learn.
Yeah, practice. You know, if you cannot with big things, then
what
you.
will be the practice?
But with small things, or I can take this now to realize what it is about, the real spiritual path in practice in daily life. So if I understood, maybe I cannot take so much big disturbances, but I can take some smaller one, and then my capacity to take will increase. My willpower to stay here, not to run away, will increase. So it's more a willpower which is stronger than the will of the mind. The will of the mind, which is to run away, go out or suppress, or go in a story, and so. But to train ourselves to develop this strength to stay here, like Ramana said, to be here. So that's how, for me, personal growth and spirituality exactly match. There is no difference. For a long time I was dissociating that, and I realized that, and I understood also through some teachers that it is not different. The highest medicine is to be here and to notice how much the mind is always avoiding, running away from discomfort. But by running away from discomfort, we run away from discomfort and we face comfort, we want well-being. So we are like the hamster, we make the wheel turning. And, and we turn, and we stop the wheel. We want to stop the wheel, but we make it turn by having a preference. What Buddha said. Instead of having a preference, he said to have no desire, which is the same. So that the idea is to bring this practicality in life, to be in the world, you can work, even be married, why not, having children, and anything. Because sometimes we don't do things in life, we stay hidden because we are afraid to feel discomfort, triggers, blocks inside of us. But if we learn to stand straight in life, chest not too open, which is ego, also and to more like express, to vomit outside, or to suppress. You know, people who are more like that. But in between there is a posture which is just to be open, heart open, not hiding, and ready to experience things. Not only pleasure, but also pain. Physical pain. It's not that we have to search for it, but if they come, emotional pain, anything come, to be willing to stay here, to learn to take it.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Of course.
For me, it's a little bit like you said, not trying to avoid things. I can understand that. For me, it feels a little bit like if I choose more spiritual places, environments, or spiritual activities, it's much easier to practice this inner presence, to stay here, to stay connected. If I go in different big cities, maybe stressful job, maybe it's also possible, but for me it would be just overwhelming. So I would be pulled out all the time. So consciously choose places and people maybe to support this.
Yes,
that
yes.
I learn to stay here.
Of course,
For me,
sure.
it's so difficult. And
Of course. No, I also, yes, I support that, I understand that. But there is two levels, the inside work and outside. So what I was talking more about the inner world, how you relate with things from inside. But it doesn't mean that outside you cannot use situation as steps, you know. If you feel better in a more spiritual place or more quiet, like I need also that, outwardly. So there is the outside and the inside. So you can take step to come in Tiruvannamalai or to not take a job which is overwhelming, but at the same time have the awareness that it's about ultimately being equal in anything, because it's the nature of consciousness. Equanimity. But we need some steps. So it's like props. When you do yoga, you use props, no? So a props could be to come to a spiritual place, to have a good relationship. We try the best, no? So that's more the outside steps, or practical. But yes, what is important to see is that the mistake I noticed is that we tend to judge nature as bad because it has a preference. But nature would not be nature if it had no preference. So nature always tends to want to turn for the best in some strange way sometimes. Some people who do violent things, or war, or even rape, or crazy things, in their stories they believe the energy also thinking it is the best in their own story. They really believe it. But, so anyway, how even energy and works, it's always this plus and minus. I'm not an expert in that, but I understood that it's always this friction, searching for the best, make the energy flow. So it's very natural. So the mind is also part of this energy play, who always has a preference. So the problem is not really that the mind has a preference, is that we identified with it. If I identified with that which has a preference, then I become that which has a preference. But if I realize that I am consciousness who is witnessing nature, play of nature, which has preference, which is totally natural, nothing wrong, then I'm free. This is the difference. So we can notice, oh, this character has a preference, a tendency to want a quiet place, to feel, and yes, it's nature unfolding. But I can witness it from background, from witness consciousness, and knowing inside it's part of nature, but it's not a solution. It's an outward solution, practical unfoldment. But if I stick only on that, oh, I will be happy if I stay in this place only. Then I make myself dependent on that. So, and ultimately we want to be free. So we can take some, I do it also, I take some, to have a more quiet room if possible, take some practical steps, but being more aware of the inner world, how the world of avoidance and control, always the mind is always busy with controlling. What is the best? How can I want liberation. I want even that, even the path of enlightenment, and it's also the mind who wants the best. It's not the self. The self has no preference. So these two is like work together. It seems opposite, but in truth not, because the consciousness is more like Shiva, who is static, not moving, the presence that you were talking about. And Shakti is moving around and moving with a play of plus and minus, and it needs this play of plus and minus. It would not move around. So to take it as a play more, and then it become more, okay, why not? This guy need a quiet place. You know, to accept this body mind, how it has been made. Like I am sensitive to sound, so I do with it, and I'm better now. But it's some people have some other thing. Everybody has something. You know, so. Does it come together?
Yeah.
You see? That's yes. So that's really because the trick is we want to go out of duality, but we continue to we do it. We create separation. I like, I don't like. So that is the trap. We create duality by having a preference, by identifying with that which has a preference. So to realize that we are not that which has a preference. We are that which is always here. But this has a preference. So this is a question of identification. It's not to stop. The mistake we do, I notice, is to try to stop the will. I want to stop, please stop the will. I want to stop the play of nature. It should not be like that. Then we are in fight. But to be at peace with life as it is, with this plus and minus, these waves, you know, I saw someone doing a draw which is interesting, with waves like that. And sometimes we are on the top of the waves when all circumstances are perfect. I mean, very quiet place, no disturbance, my mind is quiet, nobody talks to me. So I tend to disappear. The sense of, this is paradise. When there is no me, it's paradise, right? But when we are maybe maximum disturbances, then we fall back in identification. Me is strong, and contraction like that. And we tend to play that game again and again, and thinking that we have to stay here. And we go down and up and down, and we fight for many years like that. But this wave is like play. It's not really what we are seeking. It's more about realizing that what you are looking is always here. So it's not about staying high or low. It's just to watch the play of the waves and not searching, because like probably you also, when you experience nectar or bliss inside, what we tend to do, we want it again and again. So many traps, like you said, so many traps, so many, and we are on this roller coaster like that.
May I add
Of course.
a personal experience?
Sorry?
Can I leave?
Of course.
Another place to go.
Ah, yes, yes. Welcome.
Thank you so much.
Nice to see you again.
But can you afford to miss my experience? I'm just joking. Come on.
No,
No,
no.
I have to go.
I'm joking.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's about this high and low, and about training to be present, whatever you want to call it. Because that's why I was asking about learning. How do you learn? And my experience shows that it's maybe more about an attitude. If you really want it, even if you don't meditate like 10 hours a day or how many hours, whatever. So I tell you what happened, and you may judge. So I was 3 months in a Vipassana, maybe you heard of it.
Yes.
And I was helping there for 3 months, so I was meditating 2 days, 2 hours a day, like mandatory. And then I went to my son for some reason, it doesn't matter, and it came like father and son, it came to crash. Okay, and while I was running after him, like totally unconscious, in that very second, something in me, I became conscious that something in me observes the whole thing. I don't know if it's...
Yes, yes.
So suddenly I became, and I didn't stop, I made the whole thing to the end, but it never left me that I became conscious in the middle of the low point. So, so I don't know how, if someone is asking me, more than sharing my experience, I cannot say how to do it.
It happens.
There are no 5 steps or books or whatever, but your attitude, if your attitude is there, something in you will slowly shift. That's what I think. I don't know what your...
Yes. I had also experiences like this. Yes. You can be, for example, it happened to me many years ago with a partner, and this character was starting to be angry in the stairs. I was talking to her, but I was totally out of it. I said, "Oh, amazing!" It was like looking at a movie, after I was laughing because it was like, how is it possible? So you can totally disidentify from even extreme some moments like that. Yes.
Yeah, but what I'm taking from this is that you cannot provoke it with your mind. You know what I mean? So you cannot pretend this thing. So it's either happens or not.
But you cannot provoke
it. If it happens, it's genuine because you haven't tried to provoke it.
I get your point. I'm also not talking about no mind. I'm talking about this dimension which can observe the mind, the thoughts, to stay there as the awareness. So what I said or pointed that it seems to be apparently easier to stay connected in places like satsang, which even the words point to it. So it's always like a reminder.
But life is like a satsang.
But maybe it is. Maybe it is.
This is what I meant.
Yes.
I know it's also happening in deep suffering situation that you step back and observe all of this, but it's much more difficult from my perspective.
But what we can do is to, like when you do gardening, you cannot pretend that the plant came out because you did it. What you did, you just put the seed in the ground and put water every day on it, and the sun, and then it do its work. So for me, we have to play our role. We play our role. We use our free will, even if we are told it's not real, this free will and worship, but we use it. As long as it is here, we have to use this so-called free will, because the sense of doership is also another mistake we do. Somebody tell us there is no doer. I say, I'm not the doer. So ego saying I'm not the doer. And then you hide in this place, another trap. But as long as you have doership, you cannot say. You can so it's like an energy, it has to be used. So it's better to use that energy in putting your attention back to consciousness, do a mantra, going to satsang. So it's like watering the garden. And if the plant come out like an experience like that, it's not in our hands.
It's very nice metaphor. Yeah?
Yes.
All you can do is just take care of the soil.
Yes, we are gardeners.
And then grace will
yes.
take out something.
Bring some stuff and some experiences. But yes, we can get also attached to experiences. That's also another trap, but what to do? There is my first guru was saying a story of Bulleh Shah. Bulleh Shah, a saint, who was a gardener, and he was transplanting onion from one place to another place, transplanting. And someone came by and asked him, "Oh, please tell me how to find God." He said, "Oh, it's very easy. It's like putting onion from one place to another. Just bring back your attention from here to there." So he was a gardener, so apparently. So to gardening our attention, to bring back our attention to the center of consciousness, or to I, the self-inquiry, or to do bhakti, to put attention on God or Master as a form. It's all the same. Different direction is to shift attention from one direction to another. So even the trap of having experiences, it's also part of the game to bring attention to another space, even if we get attached and this, and after we have to learn to be detached from it, so it's all a game, but it's also part of a shift of attention from being totally lost, scattered, identified in the world, totally identified with this, and it shifts by, so we have to do our effort and to play our part, and God do the rest. Yes. Because finally, you see, we can see from different perspectives, but it's all the same finally. Yes. Because, you know, we are all God, mini gods, it's all consciousness, and one is saying, "Oh, no, it's like this," oh no, it's like this, and the other one says, "No, it's like this." So it's just God talking with himself. And, "No, I'm right, you're wrong." Yes, so it's like Gongama said yesterday, we are all realized. No, not consciously, the characters are playing ignorant, but it's consciousness who is playing ignorant. It's a role, you know.
So it's a kind of self-talk, self-conversation all the time, that consciousness talk to itself. In different
What else to
characters.
do?
It's too boring otherwise.
So to learn to see, to practice, like also Buddha said, you know, that there is no others. But we can hear that, but to practice that, you know. So how we can practice? By being in the middle of the life, to do our action, our duty, our dharma, to raise children, to work, and to face the challenges of life. And through this challenging, life will teach us, because life is a guru, life is a teacher. So life will teach us and awaken us. That's why I put this in this poster. Triggers or the call from the soul. The soul is calling, "I'm tired of this dream." So the soul there is an inner power calling. So there is a response from life who will bring the proper trigger to awaken you from this dream. But we say, "Oh no, I did not ask for that." But that's the way that we'll wake up, otherwise we'll stay sleepy. So to recognize our enemy as ourself talking to us is in some strange way, but why I'm talking to myself like this? But if to stay open, this is what we said, it was to stay open. After 30 years on this path, I realized that not only me, many people experience that to come back to simplicity. We search for very many roads, complications, but finally, if you put in few words, is to be here, to stay open, basic things like that, and then things unfold. If you're really here and you do nothing, then the character will do what it has to do. And like I had two basic guru, and the last one who died 3 years ago. in 2012, he told me a beautiful, very powerful thing, because I was, I had no house, I was little lost in where to go, what to do. I was in US visiting him in Chicago, and he told me, after 1 hour talk with him, he told me, you have done so many things in this life, in past life. What if from now you would said, I don't go anywhere, I don't do anything. I let the body mind do whatever it has to do, but I stay here, I'm done. If you really hear that, then you have nothing to do. Just to be here and let the body mind do what it has to do. Because he has maybe not so much choice to do what he's doing, to think what he's thinking. So when we see it like that and realize that other characters also do they have choice to say what they say, to do what they do? On the surface, yes.
And switch perspective.
On the relative
Before-
level, yes, of course, I agree. We experience free will, but I'm talking from a deeper
Yeah,
level.
just like
If you can see like that, then you, like what Ramana said to his mother. I was reading the book they offered at the Talk of Not Sure, the first story with his mother, and she came to him and she wanted him to come back to the village. I will take care of you. I understand you're enlightened and so on. You can stay doing nothing. I will take care of you. And he was not replying. He stayed like a rock. And for hours like that. And she was begging him. And after some time, he started to write something on a paper. And that's the famous thing. If anything has to happen, try to stop it. You cannot. And if something doesn't have to happen, try to make it happen. It will never happen. So it's better to stay quiet. But quiet not as a character, because the character may be quiet like him, but he may have some karma, dharma, duty to do in the world. So it's more to be stay quiet as that, consciousness, and the character will play any dance. He has to dance. Like that. So, yes. But to not be too esoteric, I would like to bring it back to be here and now and daily life, and to use daily life, to see daily life as the guru, and to be always open. Oh. Yes. That's what I try to do. Yes. So in truth, it's very simple, because we have to do nothing. But for the mind, it is it's crazy difficult. How to do nothing? The mind is, how to do nothing? Yes. So that's the paradox.
paradox of life.
Yes.
Effortless, but it appears like there is so much effort to do.
Yes.
Such a long way to go.
Yes, to reach.
There's no way, and it's effortless on the other hand.
Yeah, as long as there is a sense of doing, of effort, we cannot say, no, I will not do it. And we do that when we hide in a cave, in the inner cave or physical cave, and I will not do anything now. I don't like anyone. I don't want to be in the world. So we are all on the same boat, going nowhere, but enjoying the trip. So now we don't know what to do. Anything? when about presence and consciousness, even when we talk or in action, we can also train to keep attention on the silence.
I'd like to say something.
The sound?
Sorry?
Sorry?
I would
Just
like-
go ahead.
Ah, yes, yes.
Yeah.
A little loud, please,
Loud, yeah.
like a singer.
Yeah. So my experience is that for a few years, I don't know how many, 6 or 7.
Oh, excuse me, I think the light is better to put on, no? Yes. Sorry.
For a few years, I tried what you were pointing to, being present and all.
So few years you're practicing that?
Yeah. From a certain point on, depending on your ailments, your internal ailments, you can do that.
The internal?
Ailments, problems,
Ah, yes.
disturbances.
Mm-hmm.
You can actually do that. But if your inner world is hellish,
Yes.
I don't feel it's possible.
Yes, that's why we need practice, no?
Yeah.
Time. Also, there is no time, but we need time. So, the more things, the more the house is cleaned, the more we can be here fully. When the house is so full of stuff, it's not possible to be here because your attention is so going in all directions, all thoughts, emotion, disturbances. So the house is so full of, so it's not possible to be here. But when there start to be an interest in that direction, then we understand the house needs to be somehow less busy. But it might not happen in one day like that. We are not Ramana Maharishi, not all at least, not me. So we may need to do some. No, there is a Swami Prajnapad which was known in France, a Swami who was saying you cannot go from abnormal to supranormal. So, because sometimes or a lot of time people want to jump to with this Neo-Advaita, so-called Neo-Advaita and stuff. I'm that, but so much full of things. So it might need some time to free up some stuff.
Maybe if I express it differently, I
Yeah.
get the feeling that what you are saying is stay in an observing state, right?
Yes.
Just observe and don't implicate yourself in the experience.
If you can.
Sorry?
Only if you can. If you cannot, you cannot.
Exactly. But try to imagine that everything is in your face like this. There is no space to go back a little bit and observe. And that was
More difficult. So maybe you need to do ecstatic dance.
impossible.
I saw a poster.
It was today, actually.
Could check
For me,
check
it was
your.
impossible.
No, I'm joking, but you know
Yeah,
there
but
is.
I'm sharing something important to me.
Yes, yes.
that I'm vulnerable.
Yes, yes.
It didn't feel right.
Yeah. So sorry, just to bring some lightness. But when there is something difficult, we need to find. It's not really a joke because why not to do that? You know, people do that. Why not? Anything can help. If we feel it, we need to practice to do something about it. So we should not be shameful about it. I say, okay, I can do this or that. Try whatever can help. So nothing is really bad.
What I feel is that he's pointing that he did this for years, and you're speaking about you need time. But in reality, after months, after 1 year, after 2 years, you are fed up and you say, come on, let me alone. What do you speak about?
Yes, so maybe
It's
you
not
need
working
to.
for me.
Yeah, yes. So maybe life will bring what I experience. Life is bringing some new opening, some new door, some new insight. It depends on. I experience it like this: that we are a magnet. My call, the call of my soul, will bring what I need to meet. So your magnet, your inner magnet, if the call is sincere and strong enough, it will bring what you need in order to move forward. Sometimes we might unknowingly blocking ourselves. We call this like some, some resistance. We might have some resistance, and I in coaching, because I practice this coaching, we learn some very interesting notion like that. That the resistance, they have their own value. So we need to value also why there is resistance. Resistance is there because something inside is very strong, and my system might not be ready to experiment it. So it's like for electricity, there is a fuse, and the fuse is there to preserve. So the resistance is a guardian, and it's not bad. It's because it's not time. Maybe it will change. So it's to also honor this guardian, this resistance or fear, which prevent to open further. So
It is no longer my experience what I talked about in the beginning. I just told you what happened a few years ago,
yes,
and it was impossible for me to just observe. I
Yes.
was too much. It was like the pull was too much.
so what is your situation now?
Now I'm a psychotherapist.
Sorry?
I'm a psychotherapist.
You want a psychotherapist?
I am a psychotherapist.
Ah, yes, yes.
I am a psychotherapist.
But what is your situation regarding that? A few years ago, you had not so much space,
Yes.
but now,
Now I have a sadhana.
sadhana.
Yes. And I also do therapy with my own. But when I fall, when I start falling, from time to time I enter like a hellish lagoon, if you want. At a certain point I can no longer stay there. It's impossible after, I don't know, a week, a month or so.
It's too difficult.
Yes, it's breaking my soul into pieces.
This is why I'm talking about this resistance.
Yeah.
I do also practice Chin Song, not here, but Chin Song is a Taoist massage, abdominal massage, and we talk also about this to honor this resistance. They have a purpose, because as you said yourself, who is speaking? The system is speaking and saying, I cannot longer take it for some time, okay, but then it's not possible. So it's like a preservation process, preserve. So it's not bad. We can honor that and say, oh, it's the intelligence of nature, how intelligent it is. It can even protect itself. And when it will know that it's possible, then the guardian may send some sign, oh, you can go further now, open more to that, experience it. And like last year here, I had very strong going through hell like that, and I could totally be here in the middle of that, and it was shifting in something beautiful. But it's not easy to stay in that and to really surrender and to open. In a word, I was in this difficult state. I was opening to the love of God, because it came to my mind. Usually we can't, because we are so contracted, so that we cannot. But just to open in that moment, if it's possible, but we cannot force it. It happens if it happens. So It happens, that's why at the beginning I talked about the capacity of the soul to go through even hell. Like the saints, they say, in the tradition I am from, they said, to learn, the saint has no preference between hell and heaven. They say a hermit has a preference for heaven. So he practice, he do sadhana because he wants heaven. And but he said a saint has no preference for heaven or hell. He's just happy in the will of God, in the love of God or love of the self, whatever you call it, has become so strong that there is no difference between hell and heaven. But as long as we have a preference for heaven, then we are still in the circle, no?
There is a certain quality of a lack of something that I feel may let me go through it. I don't know. So
There is what? I could not hear.
a certain quality or a lack of something that may
Does not let you experience that.
yeah.
It's the strength of the soul.
And while you were talking, I felt like when I was deep inside of it, there was an expectance that day by day I will go stronger, you know, and then I will go through it. And now I came to realize that was probably a part of what was keeping the hellhole
So
open.
avoidance. You know, because it's tricky. If it's not a full surrender,
Yeah,
if there is avoidance, a subtle avoidance, you know, if something really wants this to not be there, secretly, I totally open. But secretly, it should be really free, like unconditional. If it's not,
yeah, but that
then
means-
it is still a fight, a subtle fight, you know.
that
So
means that you don't defend.
don't defend, no resistance.
Yeah, that's right now as you're speaking.
This is what you feel.
Yeah,
It's all about because we resist.
yeah.
Me. Because what all this is talking about is to that the I give up resistance. Because what makes us having a preference is me, identifying with an energy, and so it's me. But to have no preference at all between hell and heaven,
This thing with no preference, I don't grasp it. I don't grasp
because you know something has a preference for heaven, is it not so? Or pleasure. You can call it pleasure, pain, or heaven and hell.
it. This is like over like I don't. I'm not interested in how I feel about it. How I
Not interested in?
I had this thing in my mind. Somebody told me that, and I know it's fiction, but we have to overcome emotions like.
Yeah, but what they mean by overcome? The
Yeah.
word overcome can
Yeah,
mean push away.
yeah,
It can mean also total acceptance, and then it can go by itself. But I'm not in the business of trying to push it away. That is the difference. Do we mean by overcome? So I would say, you know, it's like hell. We talk about hell. We can talk about the devil. How you can demystify the devil, because the devil pretends to be real. As long as we don't look at it face to face, he will always be like something I should avoid. But until we really be, I can be here, and to demystify, it's like demystifying the illusion of all this, even the devil and the hell. So it's not easy, of course. I don't pretend to be a saint, but
you
I
can
had.
try to demystify the other part. Demystify the heaven.
Yes, they are same. They are two parts of the same
Because
coin.
when you prefer one or the other, it's the same thing.
Yes. So that's
Demystify God.
yes. So if we talk about consciousness, which is not personal, not identified, which has no preference. So now if you can see that consciousness is here, and consciousness can experience hell or heaven or pain or pleasure, but consciousness is untouched. Stay as pure as it is. in any experience. Hell, heaven, pain and pleasure. So that's the pointer. That's the pointer. So now we have a preference for better places.
Right, and here we started.
Yeah, again,
why
we-
you
you
made
see
me
it?
come here to
It's a circle.
have more time and space to
Yes, yes.
to experience the self.
But we added some few elements, like you told about. Now we talk about the resistances and the guardian who prevent the. Let's say if the system would experience some too much high energy, disturbance energy, maybe the system would burn. Who knows? So this it's like fuse. The fuse is there to protect. Thank you. To honor my fear, to honor the protection
Wow,
system.
I like this metaphor. Very good.
It's really.
Really.
Yeah, so it's really to honor all sides. No, and you can even make the fear talk with the other person who want to be free, the other side who say, well, why, come on, why are you afraid? But I'm here. You can make them have a dialogue. We call this
That's what we do in fact.
voice dialogue. Yes.
We put into we put on the scene the internal dialogue, and that way a deeper awareness happens.
We demystify fear also by bringing it forward and making it talk. Come on, you can talk. If you have something to say, you can talk. It's demystifying. Otherwise, we fear is there, and oh, I should not talk about this. I don't know if there is fear, but to be open to talk with anyone inside.
Yeah,
Any
realize that it's only a thought. Both hell
So-
and heaven are just one thought in the mind.
You can say thought, but it can be also an experience, tough experience. If you have gone through some hell-ish experience like we did,
Yeah,
it's
but
not just a thought; it's an
where
experience.
is coming the experience from?
It's happening.
But it's coming from the concept you have, from a thought. You have a concept, what it means hell. Everyone has
No, it's a
probably-
name, yes. It's a
What?
name we put on it, but the experience is not pleasant. That we can say it's not pleasant. But we put a name, I agree, as you said.
Well, I'm speaking again from own experience. I'm not intellectualizing because I had for years like panic attacks.
You have what?
Panic attacks.
Hmm.
So, and then when I realized from where the panic attack came, which came actually from an experience, as you say, which I had in a certain meditation. I was in a very special environment, and then when I realized it, then I suddenly I was open to it, as you say. Come on, hell, I will face you, but not in like an enemy,
Yes.
just open.
Yeah,
to-
we're just open.
Okay, I'm here. I'm waiting for you.
Yes.
The feeling was I'm waiting for you to come. And then, of course, now I say of course, but then I did not know. It didn't came anymore. So it seems like a process of learning, if you want, like you said. Something in me awakened to that thing, and then life brings you the experience until you something shifted or you learn, and then it doesn't come anymore. Why? Because you don't need it anymore. But just only after I'm so smart, let's say, to speak about it. But then when I was in it, I was not sleeping for years.
Oh.
I had no insomnia,
Hmm.
but I went to sleep in the morning because my panic attacks came always in the midnight. So I was always a late sleeper, but then I realized and I started to go to sleep when the light broke in, then I went to sleep.
Hmm.
And after a few years I realized, shit, this is because of the panic attack. So, but the mind is so strong, I don't know why I'm sharing, but maybe it's useful.
No, it's good.
The mind is so strong that in the morning, I went to the hospital to emergency or something, and I wanted a full check. Just remind, I put a point. In the middle of the night, I was sure I was dying, but I did not went to the hospital, so it doesn't make sense. It's still the mind so strong. In the morning I went. I could have died in the middle if it would be real, but I did not realize. It took years until I realized that it's only a phantom of the mind. And so this is amazing how our mind, that's why I said before, so it's so strong. You are always in that circle until, and you cannot provoke it. Some clarity comes in the mind, and then a shift happens, but you cannot learn it. So I find myself very fortunate that this happened, and that's why I said maybe it's only my attitude. I had a sincere attitude to go on the path somehow, and learning about the traps and pitfalls of it, I realized myself that my mind is is tricking myself. You know, like thinking, oh, I'm something, I'm somebody, and then I said, hey, that's against where I want to reach. So the spiritual something behaved exactly like the ego, and it was even worse because it was thinking it does something good. So that was the main trap. So I'm not sure if it helps, but
Oh, it's nice to share whatever interesting experience like this. You did not sleep from years. I had also some insomnia. It seems now to not be like that so much. So we go through.
but you did something against the insomnia, or just
This was last year also, because I was not sleeping much, and but there was some resistance also. Something did not like that, to not sleep, or not regularly or like that. But yes, my experience is it's really surrender. Surrender to whatever. If there is no sleep, this, and so it can take time or be a process. But to observe how much it is an inner resistance to anything, that, or somebody will have died, or anything. It's always resistance to something we don't want, we don't like. It's always the same. So to notice this resistance and to learn to be at peace with what is.
well, it's to be afraid of death, actually. At least in my case, it was very obvious because it's panic attack. Why it happened? What it brings? You are afraid that you will die. And the mind was so I did not realize that I'm not dying. I was going to a hospital and they said, well, for your age, you are too good.
Yeah, yes.
It still took some years.
But it's beautiful. I had some experience like that, and it's beautiful because it detaches you from this fear. Maybe not 100%, but at least to a good extent.
Yeah.
Or if you had some out-of-body experience, so, but life give it to you. You don't really choose. Sometimes you can practice that also. Practicing to leave the bodies is another story.
Yeah, it's basically what in words they say. There are some teachers who use this saying is to die before you die.
This is in the past I am. It's about withdrawing the current to the eye center.
Withdrawing
The current of life, the life current.
The flow,
By focusing here and withdraw here and to. It's the same process as when you die, but you practice dying.
Okay, and by doing this, you get out of the body. That's
You
what-
can, yes. You can or not, but yes. Personally, I've never been a big. It was not really my past. I had some out-of-body experience, but in this past, you go from one body, one plane to the next. But I have also this other path, Advaita non-duality, which is it's here. It's always here. So I'm not really. Also, my second guru brought that, that we say it's like this, is to please the mind. We say there is plane, higher plane, and you have to reach there. But in truth, it's not really like that. It's whole here. It just, we lost awareness of being the highest pure consciousness. And there is like layers and layers around. So we can present it like this, but this is little bit misleading. This was my experience, because you have always an expectation to reach there.
exactly.
So it's like in the church, they tell you if you are good, you will go to paradise. You look up again.
And it might enhance your ego. And now I reached the step 4, I go to step 5.
It maybe, but it's always to be in the position of expectation to reach there. And I was in that for a long time. But what was really insightful is to realize that it's not there. It's here. This there, it seems to be there, but it's here.
Yeah, yeah.
So to bring this there and here together,
The
and to
magic.
marry them. So now it's more like, that's why for me it's not about going there, it's more and totally to be here, fully, without noticing the avoidance of whatever, but to be here and realize that's home. I live, if I am disturbed, I am leaving home. Home is to stay here. But if I follow my mind, I listen to my mind, my emotion, my stuff. Then I leave home. So I am the one who is doing it. So to stay here is stay home. That's what my guru says. That's what many say. So it seems to be
Yeah, it's
stay here.
my guru says when you realize, then there is one relationship you don't have anymore, the relationship with yourself. There is no, you are,
But as long as we, for most of us, like me, still experience relationship, so we are in the process of, but we have already this insight, but at the same time, life makes us work through this relationship. I know I'm actually in a relationship, so we know what it is. It's a good mirror. It's a good guru. Yes, so it's like sorry?
You wanted to say
No,
something?
no, you-
I just
I-
had another question. You mentioned your relationship.
Yes.
In my experience, sometimes maybe it's a kind of avoiding, I don't know, like stopping smoking, stopping drinking alcohol or drinking coffee, all the things which almost daily I have this craving and pulls me a little bit to the desire. I try just to let it go. And one thing is also the sexual desire, right? And sometimes it also feels if I just let it go, maybe it also can be suppressing, I don't know. It feels like, okay, then it's so much easier to stay here and there's not so much cravings and neediness and attachment. And probably it's always possible to stay here, detached, but for me so challenging. So I don't know if it's then better just don't drink alcohol, smoke, and
There is two ways. You can try to stop everything if you feel it's good for you, whatever you want to stop, and if it works for you. The other way is to more. I would relate to sexual relationship, but for other things with food also. There is a notion of bogha in Sanskrit mean to enjoy. So if you, that's also many gurus fall because of that, because you pretend to be somewhere but you are not yet. So you try to stick to the image you present to people, but you hide what you do behind in the kitchen. So the notion of bogha means to enjoy consciously. It's like a plant to grow naturally. It would take some steps, no? Some like the human body also. So to enjoy food, sex, or other things consciously. If you are not conscious, then it will take you wherever, as it likes, with food, sex, or any other thing. But if you learn to be more conscious and to enjoy it, like I remember again, Swami Prajnapada, he was saying a story of a boy who came to him, and he said, "I want to be free of rasgulla." And because he eat too much rasgulla, it's Indian sweets. And he said, "So, come tomorrow and bring a full box of rasgula. I said, no, I want to be free from it. Why you tell me to bring a full box? Bring a box. And he made him sit with a box here, and he said, now take one rasgula and take it in your hand and slowly take it and smell it, taste it. And he was taking him through a conscious process to enjoy fully. He said, you have enough now, or take another one? He said, no. Yeah, you think I should? Then he took, and he continued. And then after maybe 4 or 5, I don't know, he said, oh, I'm full, I can't anymore now. So it's like practicing conscious experience. So that brings back to the same subject of bringing back attention. If you practice something consciously, you become more what? Conscious. Because from unconscious action, you become more conscious of the action. So you shift from less conscious to more conscious until you become more interested in consciousness than food or sex or anything.
Yeah.
So I would suggest to enjoy life consciously, and the more conscious, the more your attention will shift to consciousness and will naturally decrease. Interest for anything will decrease naturally, nothing to force. So that's one way, or otherwise you can be like when I was initiated by my first guru in 97, I had to stop meat, alcohol, drugs, cigarettes. But so I took it. For me it was a chance to be away from that because I was in a lifestyle like that. So I took that chance and it worked for me. So for that, but I had a relationship afterwards, so I still had some sexual relationship and this and that. But some teachers would be more about being strict and being brahmacharya, but I don't really believe in that. It's very dangerous. It's more natural to experience life and to be naturally mature about that. Yes. Okay, I have tested it. I know by experience that's not really what I want. By being more conscious in anything I do, I will learn that I am in truth more interested in consciousness itself than the action. But you know it by experience. No, maybe somebody told you, but you know it by itself, by yourself. Then it is a really experiential.
They even made a movie about this, like a Tibetan priest, like doing this, I don't know, 333 days in reclusion, and just somebody brought some food. He never spoke to anybody, and after 333 days, he was like honored with some kind of, in our language, will be a diploma. Now you have a stamp of that. And what happened after? He had an erotic dream, and he ejaculated, and then he understood, fuck, it's for nothing, it's just a stamp, and he returned to daily life. So it's very, very nice movie depicting exactly this way, where suddenly you force something, it is dangerous, it will bring nothing.
Because it was not experienced consciously, yes.
But I guess it's, in my experience, like you mentioned, it can be like coming intellectually, that you say, I should not because my teacher told me I should not have sex, or you experience it, but it doesn't feel quite right. You feel distracted, and afterwards also not so good, so it feels not the right way for you. So you stop smoking, drinking alcohol.
But not sex. I said
sex.
it was only the vegetarian diet. It was a requirement to get this initiation on inner light and sound. So for me it was a chance. I took it and it worked because it was a... I was mostly out of all this, but not fully. So for me it was like, it was like a support for what I wanted. So it was perfect. But for everyone it's different, no? So, but I'm very happy that I don't smoke, I don't drink, that I'm vegetarian, I no drugs, and I don't need anything. I don't have to push anything away. I'm free, really free from that, and I don't struggle. It's many years. So just at the beginning little bit. So So this is also not something bad. If it can happen like that, why? I don't say it has to be like that, but it depends for everyone. I believe the supreme guru, master, life, brings a path which is fitting to you. It's customized for you. So what is good for you, and yes, what resonates for you. Like you came here, you know. The people I meet in Tirou now, they are not people who talk about so much esoteric, too much. It's more about practical spirituality, and I resonate more and more with people like that. And I feel I meet mostly people who resonate with that, like also you here. So it's the same. We will bring in our field of resonance what match.
Seems to be, for me, it's also resonating better or easier to stay here when I'm sober compared to when I'm drunk. So because of that, maybe it's
So it says
more resonant
yes.
not to drink alcohol. It's
Yes,
better
yes.
For me.
So if it resonates for you, you can put some effort in that. There's nothing wrong.
Yeah.
Do you have something for the mosquitoes? You said.
Here.
Didn't you say you have something?
It's here. Yeah, it's burning.
Yeah.
It's burning. Okay. Because it starts to get very.
Too much?
Yeah.
But we
Yeah,
probably
it's
stop.
bad news to come short.
Yeah, and I forgot my cream.
If you are not disturbed, I can put it here.
Yes.
Yeah, that would be nice.
But we will not be so long now, I think. But yes. So
Thanks, anyways.
yes. So to be in life and experience it. How to be. I like to see it like this now. To even if it was my experience like this in '97, but I feel is to experience. I also experienced before alcohol, drugs when I was young. I was playing in a rock band and so on. So I experienced it. And through experience, I could feel that it's not what I want. It was looking like the paradise. But by going through it, I know this is not the paradise I was looking. I was running away from the world because the world was terrible. As I saw the model of my parents, of these people who were lying and I said, what? Why should I live in a world of lies and cheating and abusing and this? I have no interest. So I'd rather live in a world of drugs, alcohol, you know. But I saw this is also not working. But I had to taste it, to see it, and to move forward out of it. So maybe we have a tendency like that to understand that clarity is more supportive than to be in the dark energy or of alcohol or drugs like that.
I still miss drugs.
Sorry?
I still miss drugs.
You?
I still miss drugs.
So what to do? Maybe.
I don't do anything, I just telling you.
Yes. But you know, it comes by experience. I can tell you that it comes to a point that you don't miss it, that, or something else. But I think it's about finding something else which is more sweet.
Yeah.
In my case, I have this inner light and sound meditation and this nectar inside, and also this awareness that which is become more important than the enjoyments through drugs and alcohol like that. So it's a question of priority, you know. As long as energy has a preference in that, because she does not, for her, it's the best. So she does not know really better, so she goes there until she will realize, oh, it's not the best. But it's also memory, you know, past memories, attachment. When we stop something for some time, it's still working in our system. So it may take a few years to be free also from memories past.
In 10 years.
10 years?
But I can again share from my experience. But I really love partying. Which is that I did not need it time. So I was so determined, for instance, to quit smoking. I was like smoking already for 10 years, and I decided I will start to play some sport. And I said, okay, the two in my mind are not compatible, so I give up smoking. And indeed, I used that I get some fever, then you don't smoke, even if you are a smoker. When you have fever, I used that opportunity, and I never smoked again. But in 2 weeks, that's the funny part of it, I drink with a cigar, smoking like you drink with a woman. In your case, maybe with a man. So this passion, I was smoking this thing, and I never. Everybody said you will see in 1 year you will smoke twice as much. So it works also like suddenly. You don't need time. It depends on your motivation. I think I'm not sure, but I think this word is the
Motivation.
key. The motivation.
I heard from someone, and I believe that I stopped smoking and drugs and alcohol, so I also
You read that way.
I experienced that. But there is, I don't know if you heard about Michael Singer, which is a very interesting American guy. You can check. He has few books, and he's
Michael Singer.
singer, like a singer, yes.
This is one of his books.
Yes,
Michael
Living
Singer.
It is Untethered. Yes, this is the last one.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
The guy.
You see, this is kind of coincidence. In Tirou, I was never
Yeah, yeah.
meeting people like that,
yeah.
but I am reading to him. I read his 3 books during last year, this last year, and listened to a number of talks. And it's not by chance we meet, because he's really in that. And he talked about also this intention. When you have a cigarette in your hand, who puts the cigarette in your mouth? It's you, nobody else. So if you have the intention to not put it there, if the intention is strong, then you don't need any method or anything. Intention. So this is true for cigarette. It's funny to talk about that, because when I stopped smoking, I had this. I was so tired to need something in my hand, and I was feeling I want to be free from need to have something here in between my finger. It was manifesting for me like that. Also, Nisargadatta was smoking bidis, but so it's not a must. But in my case, and I wanted to be free from that. And Michael Singer speaks about this example of cigarette to bring it to other things, because everything is our objects perceived by consciousness. Not only a cigarette, but our thoughts, our emotions, feelings, other people. They are also objects perceived by consciousness. So if I can do it with cigarette, maybe I can do it also with people, situations, thoughts, emotions, anything. Body, it's also an object perceived by consciousness. So if I can withdraw my attention to attention itself, instead of keeping it on object perceived by consciousness, if I could do it with cigarette, maybe I can do it with everything, and just stay as consciousness. Finally, maybe not at once. So it would be a process of learning to stay here as consciousness, witness consciousness. Witness objects. So first we tend to identify with a subject, we perceive other people, but we can also perceive this subject as an object, and our thought, emotion also as an object. Everything is an object perceived by consciousness. So we can do, if we can stop smoking, we can stop everything also. It will continue, but we more and more realize we are not in that. Like Jesus said, I am in the world, but not from the world.
So this way of teaching how to deal with addictions, for example,
Yes?
just if you have this craving, cigarette, shift in the perspective. So who is smoking, and just observe it, or
And to have the inner
Yeah.
strength, It's the same to have the inner strength to be here. It's developing. My guru was saying in truth, there is no free will. But as we experience it, we can distinguish between the will of the mind and the will of the soul, just for the sake of play. So the strength, the will of the soul, or of God, you can say also, is stronger. So you can use that will to overcome the will of the mind. The mind wants that. And you can stand here and say, no, develop this inner strength to stay here, to not go there. for everything. We can start with cigarettes, food, sex, anything, but bring it for any object and to stay here. Okay, the Shakti is playing, dancing, but I'm not moving. So we are in a training camp. I'm also training. So I'm happy to see this. This book is amazing. I like it. Yes. I think it's yes, the first book was The Untethered Soul in Âme délivrée in French. And this one, the third one, which has not been translated in French, is Living Untethered.
This is the third one?
It's the third one. And the second one is the one who brought me to him, because I was one of the last words of my guru 3 years ago before he died. He really spoke about surrender. Because he said, you know, we say, the guru tell you, practice this, do that. But because the mind does not believe, if we would say, you don't have to do anything. You're already what you are, you have nothing to do. So the mind cannot believe that. So we have to tell the mind, do this, do that, like that. So he was bringing the point to, even if you have a guru, a physical guru, a real guru, if we can say that, if you can surrender to the guru, knowing that he's also a character in the dream, but it's a tool to help you to surrender to consciousness, to God or to the self. So if you can just surrender, you don't need to do anything. Only because the mind does not allow this. But otherwise surrender is the highest. So this brought me to a search on internet saying, I want to dig a little bit more on surrender, and I found this second book, which is Surrender Experiment. It's called The Surrender Experiment. It's a beautiful book. He speaks about all his story from seeking and when he had this first awakening and he wanted to be away from the world, but life wanted him, by surrendering to life itself, not to his mind, to consciousness. He decided, I just want to surrender to life, to consciousness, not to my mind. By doing that, he became a billionaire. It's an amazing experience. And it shows that there is no model that it should be like this or like that. If you surrender to life and you don't care what will happen, life will do what it wants. You don't have to worry about anything. So this second book is interesting.
From this guy, you mean?
Yes,
The
yes.
singer.
The Surrender Experiment. Yes, so that's why also I pay honor and attention to his word, because it's coming from someone who has been living fully in the world, even being billionaire. So it has for me even more power than someone who is a renunciate outside, because it's not really an example which I can follow to be like Ramana. So it's more related to the Western world. So, you can be in the world and surrender to that, and to be equal with between success or failure or whatever, to have no preference. So if your destiny is to be billionaire, you don't care.
Yeah, I like it also to be spiritual without speaking about spirituality. Being surrender means he's really spiritual, but maybe he doesn't speak about spirituality at all.
It depends on your dharma, you know. If it's your destiny, like his dharma was since, I think, 40, 50 years, he gives talks every week in his centers there. But he was, as a businessman, still doing so many things. But he was giving a talks. He was not saying he's a guru, nothing. He was just talking like that. So it depends on your destiny, you know. Like I feel like for me, I talk. Why I talk? I don't know. It's like that.
Enjoy it,
Every character. Yes, I enjoy. And but it's also, do I have real choice? Not really.
Not really.
Apparently, yes. But so it's better to let it like that. But what it means, it can take any form. You know, to not expect that my sadhana should take this form or this.
Yeah.
No, it can be any form. It can be even to have nobody. To be formless. So, before to stop, anything to... Usually we stop when we are perfect. So if we feel we are perfect, we can stop.
First time ever.
It may come again, but
Finally.
finally arrived.
I can go to dinner now.
Sorry?
I can go to dinner now.
Yes, yes, me too, yes. So, thank you so much. And yes, so